Hello everyone, I am Mhetras from Department of Statistics, RBNB College, Srirampur. Today I am going to teach F.Y.B.Sc students the paper number first, that is descriptive statistic first, and unit number 3, which is presentation of data. So in first 2 units we have learned about how to collect the data, the different methods of collecting the data. And as the definition of statistics is, we have to first collect the data, then we are going to present that data, then we are going to analyze, and finally the interpretation of the given data. So now in this unit, that is in presentation of data, we are going to learn about how to present data in the form of table, that is frequency distribution table, or some graphically, that is some type of graphs are there like histogram, frequency polygon, frequency curve, etc. So let's start it. So first of all, what is raw data? So in the first step, we have the collected data, and which is unprocessed data. So that unprocessed data is called as the raw data. For example, income of 50,000 individuals is a raw data. Then we are going to classify that data by using classification. So next definition is classification. So in the classification, we make the homogeneous and non-overlapping groups into different classes. So we divide the entire data into homogeneous and non-overlapping. So entire process of dividing the data into homogeneous and non-overlapping groups of observations, then it is called the process of classification. There are some advantages of this method. The first advantage is condenses the given data. Then it omits the unnecessary information, and it is used for comparison of two groups. So these are the advantages of classification of given data. So the next point is frequency, that is how we classify the data is given by the frequency distribution. Frequency is the number of times the observation, the number of observations in the particular class is called the frequency or class frequency. So this is called frequency, or we can call it as class frequency. Then the next definition is frequency distribution. Frequency distribution means it is a table which contains classes as well as with their frequencies, related frequencies. So table of classes and relative frequency or related frequencies. So these all comes under the classification methods. So these are required to classify the data. There are certain steps to make the frequency distribution table, that we can make a table for a frequencies of the given data. So there are some steps. First step is we have to select the range of that data, means the lowest point and the greatest or highest point in that data. We have to find the lowest and highest number from the given data. Then in the second then we have to calculate range. Range means that highest number minus lowest number, that is up to which that data is divided, the lower number and higher number. Then in the second step we have to decide that how many number of classes we have to do. So number of classes should be decided in the second step. So preferably the number of classes are between 7 and 20. Then in the third step we have to prepare, the first column of frequency distribution table. It is the first column which contains the classes. For example, 0 to 10 or 10 to 20, these are the classes. So our first column is ready, that is number of there are number of classes. Then in fourth step we have to do the second column, and in the second column we can make the tally marks. So by observing each observation in the data and putting in the cross of first column, we can make the second column by tally marks. So by putting tally marks cross to the first column, that is classes, we can make the second column which contains only the tally marks. And finally in the last column, that is in the final step, we have to count that tally marks and write down the number in front of the second column, means our third column is number of tally marks, that is our frequency. So in this way we can make the frequency distribution table. Let's see one example. Suppose the given data is like this. Suppose this 65. So I am taking just for example. So suppose this is the given data. It may be the marks of students in examination. Then we have to make the frequency distribution table for this data. So this is a small data. We can take a large data, but just for example I am taking these data. So first step is we have to find the lowest and highest number. So here we can see that the lower number is 10 and higher number is 65. So we will find in the first step the range, and the range will be 65 minus 10, so it will be 55. So this is the range of given data, and in the next step we have to make the number of classes. So we can make the number of classes by our choice, but this is a preferable number. But here my data is small, that's why I will make the classes as a 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40 and 40 to 50, also 50 to 60 and 60 to 70. So these number of classes we can make. So this is our third step, that is we have prepared our first column of classes. So these are called classes. Then in the next step we have to put the tally marks by observing each observation in the data. So first observation is 65, so it will belong to this, so I will make here tally mark. Then next is 25, which belongs to here, then 20, which belongs to here, then 10, which will belong here, 12, 45, 35, 32, 22. So in this way we make the tally marks, and in the next step we will just count the tally marks. So here 0, 2, 3, 2, 1, 0 and 1. We can count. So 5 plus 7, 8, so 9. So here the number of observation in my data were 9. So and we can cross check by adding these number or counting these numbers, so it is 9. So in this way we make the frequency distribution table. So this is called the frequency distribution table. And if the tally marks, suppose the numbers are 23, 24, 28, so we have to put here the tally marks. So after having the fourth tally mark, we have to make a cross and then the next. So this is the method, we all know actually that. So this is the frequency distribution table for given data. The next point is method of classification. So we are having data with a different classes. So these classes may be of two types. The first type is inclusive and second is exclusive. So the definition is inclusive classes means if in the particular class the upper limit is included in the same class, then it is called the inclusive class. For example, suppose this is a class, then the upper limit is 69 and it is included in the same class while making the tally marks. So we will include this upper limit in the same class. So this is called the inclusive classes. The next type is exclusive classes. Exclusive classes means, suppose this is a class 60 to 69, then the upper limit is not included in the same class. Actually it is excluded from that class and included in the next class, that is, this is suppose 69 to 78. So here we can see that here there is no gap between the preceding and succeeding, or this is the upper limit and this is lower limit of the next class, these are same. So there is no gap in exclusive type classes, but in inclusive type classes there is a gap, means here it is a 70 to 80, so there is a gap between 69 to 70. Once again I will tell you, so the upper limit is, if it is included in the same class, then it is called inclusive classes, and if the upper limit is excluded from the same class and it is included in the next class, then it is called exclusive type classes. So these are the type of classes. Actually the exclusive type classes are continuous because there is no gap. The next point we will see is a class limits. Class limits, there are two types, they are upper limit and lower limit. So suppose the class is 60 to 69, then this 60 is called lower limit of that class. So it is the lowest number from the class, and this 69 is called upper limit of the class. That is, it is the point which is the highest number in the same class. So these are called the class limits of the class. Then we will see class boundaries. There is a difference between class limits and class boundaries. So in class boundaries, it is numbers in classes up to which the class can be extended. So it is actually called magnitude So these are also called extended type classes. So these are class boundaries. So suppose this is a class 19 or 0 to 9 and 10 to 19, then 20 to 29. So suppose these are the classes. These are actually inclusive type classes, means upper limit is included in the same class. Then these are the lower limit, these are upper limit, and the class boundaries may be taken as the numbers up to which magnitude of the class can be extended. Means suppose our observation is 9.2. So this number 9.2 can be rounded up to 9 and it will be included in this class. If the number in our data is 9.8, so it can be rounded up to 10 and it can be included in this class. So actually the classes may be, so it will be minus 0.5 to 9.5, then 9.5 to 10.5 and 10.5 to 29.5. So in this way we can make the class boundaries. So these are the class boundaries. These are actually the extended class boundaries and up to which we can take our observation. So this looks like the exclusive type classes, that is, there is no gap between observations and they are continuous type classes. So here 9.5 to 19.5 actually, and 19.5 to 29.5. So actually these are the class boundaries. The next point we will see is a mid value or class mark. It is called class mark or mid value. Suppose this is the class 10 to 20 and 20 to 30. Suppose these are the classes, then mid value can be obtained by the formula upper limit plus lower limit divided by 2. So in this way we can find out the mid value, or it is called class mark. So here for this class the class mark is 15 and here it is 25. So these are called class mark. Then the next point is class width. Class width can be calculated by upper limit minus lower limit, means subtraction of upper limit minus lower limit. So for this class the class width is 20 minus 10, so it will be 10. So this is the class width of first class, and similarly the class width for second class. So we can see that it is also 10. So these are the class mark and class width. The next point we will see is open-end classes. So we will see it by example. Suppose we are given a data in which the classes are so these are the classes, but here we can see that below 10 and 30 and above means there is no limit for these two classes. These are called the open-end classes. So these classes are open-end. There is no limit for these two classes. For example, suppose we want to obtain the income of a families or a sale of a particular product, then these open-end classes are used. But actually the open-end classes creates a problem in analysis of data. That's why these type of classes are actually avoided from the presentation of data. The next point we will see is cumulative frequency. Sometimes we are asked to obtain the number of students above certain range. That is, suppose 100 marks unit test is taken and we are asked to obtain the number of students who are below 30 or above 60. So in that case we can use the cumulative frequency. There are two types of cumulative frequency. First is less than cumulative frequency. And second is greater than cumulative frequency. So it is LCF and GCF. So they are denoted by LCF and GCF, that is less than cumulative frequency and greater than cumulative frequency. Let's see one more example. Suppose we are doing a survey and we want to obtain the number of people below poverty line. So we will take the income of the particular area and we can find out the number of people who are below the certain range. Suppose we decide the range, that is 10,000. So below 10,000 we can take this for example that they are below poverty line. So this is type of less than cumulative type frequency. So in less than cumulative frequency type we are going to add the frequencies from the first class to the last class. We will see it by one example. So suppose we are given these classes. So suppose these are the marks from 0 to 50 for a certain test of 25 students. So frequency, and this is class, frequency is so suppose this is the given frequency distribution and number of students are 25. So this is the given data and we want to obtain the less than cumulative frequency and greater than cumulative frequency. So let's see one by one. First LCF So LCF can be obtained by taking first frequency as it is. So 2 we will take as it is. Then next can be obtained 2 plus 3, which is 5. Then 5 plus this 6, which is 11. Then this 11 plus this 9, so it is 20. And finally this 20 plus this 5, which is 25. So this number we can cross check with the total number of frequency. So in this way we can obtain LCF. If we are asked how many number of students are below 20, so below 20 how many number of students have got mark. So below 20 we can see here, so 5 students are there who are having marks below the number 20. Or if we are asked to obtain the number of students who have got the marks below above 40, means above 40 is this class, so we can see that 40. So these for above 40 we have to calculate actually the greater than cumulative frequency. So this type gives only the below number. Okay, so below 40 there are how many number of students? There are 20 number of students, and below 50 there are all, that is 25 number of students. And the same question is, if we are asked to obtain above 40, then we have to calculate GCF first. So method of calculating GCF is we have to write this frequency as it is, so 5 as it is. Then we are going to add from bottom to top. So 5 plus 9, I have to write here 5 plus 9, so it is 14. Then this 14 plus 6, this number 6, which gives us 20. Then 20 plus 3, which is 23, and this 23 plus 2, it is 25. So we can cross check that this number is same as total frequency. So this question, if the question is number of students above the number 40, then we have to see this class. So above 40 means 5 number of students are there who are above 40, or 20 number of students are there who are above 20. So this is the cumulative frequency we can find. The next point is relative frequency. Suppose we are going to compare the two frequency distributions and the total frequency is not same, then in that case we have to use the formula of relative frequency, which will be seen in the next video lecture. So thanks for watching.